Hello everyone, this is Will Huckaba with Wild Airguns, and today I will be covering the Impact M3. Before we get into things, I'd like to give a short backstory on myself and kind of where I come from to give a better understanding of what I know coming into this, and basically telling you how reliable of a source I am to trust with this review, because this is my first FX airgun. So obviously I don't know as much as everyone who has been owning these guns for a long time and had multiple impacts, but I'm also not a complete amateur coming into the airgun world, if you will. So to start off, I'd like to show you the first gun that I ever got that really got me hooked on airguns. Let's see if I can practice my editing skills and cut it into my hands. Hopefully that didn't look too bad, but this is a Sheridan Blue Streak, and as you can see, it has been through its paces. But this gun has killed more birds than every other gun in my collection probably has combined. I was given this as a gift from my dad when I was around 6 years old, and it's, as you can see, been through its paces, but to this day, it's still something I can go and take out and shoot, and it has been extremely reliable and still shoots gray outs around 20-30 yards, which is really incredible. But moving on from there into my first PCP air gun, let's try this again. Boom. Hopefully that one was decent too. This is a Benjamin Discovery, and this was my first air gun, first PCP air gun. I got this around 7 years ago. As you can tell, I'm not too old myself. I'm 18, turning 19 here pretty soon, and I believe I got this for my 12th birthday. And this is what really got me hooked on the idea of PCP air guns. I can give, I guess not give credit to, because it's considered a little bit of a sickness or a disease, but it was all started off with Ted's Holdovers videos on YouTube. I remember watching him when I was really young and just being fascinated with it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And he did a review of this gun, and I instantly knew that I really wanted to get it, so I begged my parents for it for my birthday, and they gave me the extra money I needed to get it, because I believe I had around $100 saved up at that time or something like that. Right now it's a little taken apart. It's got kind of this weird rail system on it, because this summer I'm gonna try and completely redo the gun with a new stock, new barrel, pretty much new everything, and kind of try and bring it back to life. But this was also a gun that was extremely reliable, and really got me started and hooked on the idea of PCP air guns. From here, I ended up getting a Hatsan BT65 about 2 years later when I was probably 14, 15. I ended up selling the gun, so I don't have a picture with it. I can maybe throw one in. But those of you who own the gun know that it was probably a little bit too much gun for a 14-year-old. It was a little big for me to be lugging around, but I enjoyed that gun a lot, but ended up selling it. And then kind of got out of the whole air gun industry for a little while, until last summer, when this is my third time doing this over again, because the GoPro has decided to stop recording 2 times now. But last we were talking about was the BT65, I believe, and how I sold that gun because it was a little bit too much for me. So from there, I decided to stay out of the air. I guess it wasn't really a decision, it was just something that kind of happened. I stayed out of the air gun industry for a little while, until last year when I was turning 18. I had a full-time job at that point, and I had some money, and I decided I wanted to get back into air guns. So I decided to buy a Taipan Veteran 25 long, and I really wish I had the gun here to show you. It was a great gun. It shot pellets amazing, super accurate with pellets. I was able to reach out to like 150 yards sometimes on targets. My furthest kill with it was on a prairie dog at 100 yards. But I really wanted something to get into shooting slugs with, and I've seen people have luck with shooting the Taipan with slugs, but I personally wasn't able to. I tried quite a few different slugs at quite a few different speeds and was never really able to get something shooting the way I wanted it to shoot. So from there I decided I wanted to sell that and upgrade to an FX gun, because as we all know, they're kind of built around shooting slugs now. Not only slugs, but they're one of the easiest guns that you can pick up and get to start shooting slugs well. So I decided to order a Maverick, which I got put on a pre-order list, and I was on that pre-order list for quite a while. And while I was on it, I found this at a local store for sale, used, and I was pretty blown away by the fact that I was able to find this there, because I didn't really think that there were too many other people shooting PCP air guns in Wyoming. So I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity. It was put up for a really good price, and I was able to even get the price lowered a little bit. So I pulled the trigger and ended up buying this gun, which I haven't really been able to get out and shoot this gun a ton lately. I got it around 3 weeks ago, and obviously with this here now, my main focus has been on shooting this. And the time I did have the gun, the weather in Wyoming has been pretty rough, so I wasn't able to get out and do a ton of groups with it and things like that. But I did get out and when it was nice and shot it quite a bit, and I was pretty impressed with the gun shooting pellets. It feels really nice up to the shoulder. It's a really comfortable gun, and because of that, I've decided that I'm going to keep this gun. My original plan was to buy the gun and shoot it for a little bit while I waited for an FX and then sell it. But I think I've decided, since I got this gun and I'm going to be basing it completely around long range hunting, slugs, high power, things like that, I'm going to keep this around as somewhat of a truck gun, or a gun for if I need to go into a barn to do some shooting, close range, quiet, not have to worry about your backdrop near as much. I've decided I'm going to keep this gun around for that. It's also a great offhand shooter, and because of those reasons, I think I'm going to keep it around for a while. But getting into the gun that I know you all came to see, this is the FX Impact M3. I've been extremely impressed with this gun, and as you can see, it came with a really nice hard case that everything fits into. I have my silencer in here, my Donnie FL for it. I have the Accutech bipod, I have my rangefinder, I have my slugs, and I have 2 spare magazines. And as I'll show you now, it's super easy to get the gun set up. I just put it in there, put the suppressor on, pull out the Accutech, slap that on real quick. And boom, just like that, you're ready to go. Alright, getting into this gun, as you can see, mine isn't quite completely stock. As you probably noticed, my Galahad didn't have a scope on it, and that's because the scope that was originally on there when I bought it, I had to put on here. I have a Athlon Aries ETR in order that's supposed to get here sometime around May, mid-May to maybe later in May. So while I wait for that, I just took the scope off of there, which is a Hawk Vantage 4x16, not the nicest scope in the world by any means, but it's what I had, so it's what I've been using, and it's done a pretty good job. But I threw that on here. I went with the bronze on the impact because the Athlon Aries I got in the bronze color, so I thought that would match nicely. I have the Saber Tactical Arca rail on here, so you can put the bipod out a little further, cover it up down here. I've really enjoyed this. Having the bipod out has been extremely nice. And then I have the Donnie FL silencer on here, and then I also got it ordered with the FX slug power kit. Utah Airguns got this whole gun set up for me and got it to me extremely quickly. As you can see, I got the Wild Airguns put on the side, which is the YouTube channel name, and then also my Instagram. And they got it done extremely quickly. They tuned it for me. They tuned it for 33.9 grain NSAs or JSB knockouts. And I've been extremely impressed with how quickly they got everything done, how nice it came out. And they've definitely made me a strong customer and believer in their company. Unfortunately, though, I only had 1 tin of JSB knockouts, so I kind of quickly ran out of that. And I haven't really been able to get my hands on some more. So I've been kind of playing around with other ammo I had laying around. I had some 29 grain NSAs left over that I had used for testing with my Taipan Veteran. So I decided I'd try them out through this and see how that worked. And to my surprise, they've shot actually really well. And I will be doing some groups with the gun soon, but as you can see behind me outside, I'll put the camera up there real quick. Pretty rainy, pretty cold outside. Not something that I'm going to be going out and shooting groups in today. So as soon as we have another nice day, I'll get out and do some groups, and that'll be put towards the end of the video. But the previous 2 days have been extremely nice, so I got out. I've been doing a lot of shooting with them. I went out yesterday on a really big prairie dog hunt, went pretty much for the full day, and was able to get some really nice shots with that and really test the gun out in the field. And I was extremely impressed. To put it into perspective, with my Taipan veteran shooting pellets, it took me around a month or two until I was finally able to get my first 100-yard kill on an animal. And that also could just be me, because that gun with pellets shot amazing at 100. But it did take me a little while to get everything figured out to get out and get an animal with it at 100 yards. But with this, I'd owned the gun for 3 days before I went out and shot with it. Got the 29 grain shooting pretty well. Did a couple tests at around 100 yards, 120, 150. And yesterday I was able to harvest 3 prairie dogs, I believe, over 100 yards, with the furthest being at 120. So I was super impressed with that, especially to be able to do that without having a ton of time with the gun, and also without having really nice optics on top was something that really impressed me. Going into how comfortable the gun is, it is a little bit of a controversial topic, as I've seen some people don't really like the way it shoulders, but I actually really enjoy the way it shoulders. The gun's been extremely comfortable for me to shoot, and I have thought about upgrading the buttstock on it maybe to some of the aftermarket ones, because I've seen some really cool ones made by some companies that I thought would be a really nice upgrade to put on here. But just out of the stock, how it came, I've really enjoyed the way it shoulders, and the gun's been really comfortable. The side lever cocking is extremely nice, super smooth. I've really enjoyed that. It came with a 28 round magazine, which has been incredible. Never knew that it'd be so nice to have so many rounds in a magazine. To show you how the gun came set up stock as far as power goes, my first rig is set to about 150 bar. My power wheel is set at 16, and then the quick tune system is set just above 3.5, and then my second reg is set at 110, I believe. A little over 110, it looks like. So that's how Utah Airguns tuned it to shoot 33.9 grain NSAs and knockouts. And when I was shooting the knockouts, I was shooting extremely well. I wish my scope cam was here so I could show you some footage of me hunting yesterday, but I'm currently waiting on my Athlon scope to get here before I order the scope cam. And so I wasn't able to capture any footage through the scope, but I did get some videos and some pictures, so I can put those up so you can see. I was also able to harvest a rabbit the day before that at around 80 yards, and I worked flawlessly for that. I was using the knockouts at that time, and the slug did an extremely good job of expanding and taking down the animal quickly and humanely. So as far as that goes, I was really impressed. Alright, to go into the accuracy of the gun, I haven't been necessarily trusting, or I guess I know that I'm not getting the best groups that I possibly could be getting just because of the optic, just because I haven't taken the time to shoot it a ton, just because I haven't personally tuned it perfectly to whatever I've been shooting. But I've been extremely impressed with the accuracy I've gotten so far. Like I said, I just put in the 29 grain slugs, haven't tested them out really at all, didn't change anything on the gun at all. I should also add the gun has the stock, the normal superior liner in it. I do plan to upgrade to the heavy liner, as just today I got 2 packs of 38.5 grain NSAs. But back to accuracy, to get back on point, I'll put up a picture of a group I got at 30 yards with the 29 grain NSAs, and then quickly after that I was able to stretch that out to 80 and do really well. And then I just went and set up some cans at around 120, 140, and I was super impressed with the accuracy. I was able to hit them extremely quickly, figure out where it was shooting. And then even yesterday shooting prairie dogs and stuff, it was consistently shooting in the same spot every time. I was extremely impressed with that. Alright, getting into adjusting the gun, FX has done a great job making sure that almost everything on the gun is extremely adjustable and that you can fine tune it for whatever projectile you want to be shooting. So I'll cover that really quickly. I'm not actually going to be doing any adjustments to the gun as of right now, but to adjust the first regulator, you simply just unscrew the bottle, take a 2.5 millimeter Allen key, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. And you'll put it in right here. And then it's very fine from what I've heard, but you just adjust counterclockwise to add more power, I believe, and clockwise to loosen power. There's a bunch of videos on this though. Ernest Rowe has a great video on how to adjust the first regulator if that's something you're interested in. To adjust the second regulator, it might be a little tricky to see, but it's right up here behind the trigger. And that's where you adjust your second regulator at. Adjusting the trigger, you can move this back and forth, up and down, and tilt forward or backward. All with some screws right up here. And then you can adjust the weight of the trigger, the brake, and everything like that. So it's extremely adjustable there. While we're on this part of the gun, moving over to the grip is completely customizable. You can change it out for whatever your favorite AR style grip is, but I've just left it as this one for now as I've really enjoyed it, but it may be something to upgrade in the future. And then going up to here, you have your power wheel. You have 16 settings. I have mine on max, but this is an extremely easy way to adjust the velocity. And then going over to the quick tune system, this is for a little bit more exact, like down to the exact feet per second adjustments you want. To adjust that, super easy, just spin this up or down. And then going over to your valve adjuster, just tighten it in or tighten it out to adjust that. So extremely simple, extremely easy, and that plays a huge role in the accuracy you're getting with your gun, is just picking out which projectile you want to shoot and then tuning it to the feet per second that it likes. And then with the dual reg and how powerful the gun is, you can really do a ton with as far as what projectile you want to shoot and what speed you want to shoot it at. Looking at some of the upgrades for the gun, this sniper version comes with a 580cc bottle, which is a nice upgrade, and they plan to come out with a 300 bar bottle in the future from what I've heard, which is something that I think is really cool, allowing you to get a lot more shots per fill. And then they're also coming out with an upgrade in the future to make these regulator pressure readers electric, and it'll read it off digitally, which is something that I think is extremely cool and I plan to upgrade to. And then Up North Airgunning has done a lot of research and put a lot of time into doing a harmonic barrel tuner, which from what I've heard from a lot of people is going to be pretty game changing. It can be a great way to tighten your groups up quickly. And I'm super excited to get my hands on that and put that on the gun. And then also your first reg pressure on this side of the gun, you can choose to get this to where it's angled backwards, where you can see it while you have the rifle holstered. I didn't do this, but I can see how it would be extremely important to some people that that's possible, and I think it's a really cool feature. FX added that, showing off the fire. The safety on the gun is right here to switch it from safe to fire. Really nice placement for this. I thought that was a big upgrade over my Taipan. I like that right where it is. Super clean, super simple. To fill up the gun, you simply remove this little magnet here, and that exposes the opening for where you fill up your gun. It just takes a quick connect adapter to put on there. No fill probes, which has been extremely nice, something I've really enjoyed about the gun so far. Alright, that's enough of an overview for the gun though. The next part of the review will be going outside and getting some groups with it. But as I talked about earlier, the weather isn't quite cooperating with me right now, so I'll have to do that on another day. But from here, we'll be cutting to outside to go shoot groups. Alright, time for the 100-yard groups. Should be interesting because I'm a little tired because I just ran out to 100 yards to set it up. So hopefully I can catch my breath and do a decent group at 100. I'm shooting on the same target for 50, but I'm guessing I'll be impacting it at a different spot. Oh, that was a really bad shot. I pulled that one. All right. Not a bad group. This one just stopped recording as I got here, but here is the 100-yard group. If you take out these shots right here, I believe this is the group, which this was my first shot, and then there's another one in there. This was my second shot. I pulled this one really badly, but that's at least four, maybe 5 shots right in there, which you can see my thumb covers that up easily. Even my pointer finger covers that up. But I'll have to go look back on this one to get a good look at exactly what happened there. I was breathing pretty hard when I was shooting that group, which probably wasn't best for accuracy, but it'll be something to go look back on. All right, I'm back at my house after getting out and shooting that 100-yard group. I had shot one at 50, but my session did not capture the footage of it hitting the target then, so just the footage of through the other GoPro, me shooting wouldn't be very useful, but you could see the 50-yard group right above my 100-yard group. It was a pretty rough 50-yard group, one of the not as great ones I'd shot with with this gun so far, but I still decided to keep it in the video and talk about it because I don't think it'd be very fair if I were to keep shooting till I got a really good 50-yard group and then go, this is what I shot. I don't think that's very fair. I thought it'd be better if I just showed you what I shot under the circumstances with what was going on. Which, to talk about the circumstances, I was shooting the 29 grain NSAs. The gun was tuned for the 33 knockouts and NSAs, but I was shooting 29 grains because that's what I have. I've not tuned the gun at all to shoot those in any way. I just threw them in, shot them, a little bit of wind, but nothing too crazy. I'm not sure if it would have affected it at 50 yards, at 100 maybe a little bit, but I thought I'd just show you how it shot and how I was shooting during the time. My steady wasn't necessarily the best it could have been. There's definitely some human error in there. I was just shooting off the bipod with the buttstock of the gun shouldered, so there's definitely a large part on my play. When it comes to the 100-yard groups, you can see I was breathing pretty hard, and as you can see with the shots, it kind of went here, then here, then here, and then started to group up really nice for my last 4 shots. But the part of me that said, let's just show these last 4 shots, I kind of quickly decided against that. I just want to be completely honest with the groups and show you exactly what I got. So I was pretty impressed with the 100-yard groups. Obviously not the first couple shots, but the last 4 shots started to all fall really nicely. And I thought that was pretty impressive considering I have not touched the gun at all to shoot 29 grains. That's just how it was shooting. If you take those last 5 shots, that was definitely last 4 or 5 shots, that was definitely a sub MOA group. But to wrap things up, basically, this was my first YouTube video, so obviously there were quite a few mistakes throughout the whole video. Going back and watching what I've done so far, I already wish I would have done some things different, but I think I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping to correct on those things and kind of learn how to do things better for future videos. And speaking of future videos, if you enjoyed this or if you want to see some future videos by me, I plan on doing a lot of hunting videos to come, target shooting, and maybe more of an in-depth video on the M3, doing some actual groups on a good day once I get the gun tuned with what ammo I like. If you would like to see those videos coming up, please feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed it. And since this was my first YouTube video, if you'd like to leave a comment below on what you think I did well or what I didn't do well, and maybe give me a little bit of advice for what you'd like to see and what parts of the video you didn't like to see, that'd be greatly appreciated. But please, if you'd like to see anything in the future, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I look forward to getting back to you guys with another video here shortly, hopefully.